So we're back and we're talking about different types of studies. There are two basic types of studies. One of them is observational. In an observational study, you research and observe or measure characteristics of the sample members, but do not ever attempt to influence or modify these characteristics. That's kind of important, because if you ever do attempt to influence or modify the characteristics, you are no longer in an observational study. You are then into an experimental study. In an experimental study, the researchers apply a treatment specifically to some or all the sample members and then observe the effects of their treatment. The point of the treatment is usually to influence or modify characteristics. That's what they do it for. So that's why it would switch if you try to modify characteristics. That's why it was switched to an experiment. There are observational studies that look like they are experiments, but they are not. They are called retrospective studies. They look a lot like experiments, and you think they're going to be experiments, but they are not. It's because they are using past results of a common sample, and we'll talk about some of those in a minute. So an example of a common observational study might be people who walk into a grocery store and they are asked which soda they like better, soda A or soda B. They don't try to encourage them one way or another. They just write down what they observe and what they're asked. An experimental study might be a farmer tries to use a different kind of soil fertilizer on one crop and see if it would yield differently or not. He's attempting a treatment of the fertilizer and soil to affect the yield, actively trying to affect the outcome of the study. This is an experiment. So, we have a section down here where you get to look at it and see if you can tell which type of study it's going to be. I'm going to ask you to pause the video and go ahead and fill out these and see if you can tell which ones are going to be which, whether it's going to be observational or experimental. Remember, if it's experimental, you should be able to tell me what the treatment is that they're using. If you can't tell me the treatment that they're using, then it definitely cannot be experimental. It must be observational. If you know that there's a treatment but you can't quite figure out what it is, then that's something we should probably be talking about. But I'm going to talk about all of them. That's why you need to pause the video. Okay. Now we're back. I didn't really go anywhere, but I wanted it to look like it did. Okay, so which of the two available treatments is more effective in protecting trees from emerald ash borers? They called it treatments, so obviously this one is an experiment. Which of 8 airlines has the highest customer satisfaction? So they're asking people which of 8 airlines has higher customer satisfaction. That's going to be observational. Even if they didn't ask people, even if they just looked up results, that would still be observational. They're not trying to influence anybody. Over a period of many years, which National Basketball Association teams with high altitude home courts have better records? That one's observational. Is deep massage effective at relieving lower back pain? Some people would think that is experimental, because you are massaging the lower back pain to find out if it is or not. They would be correct. It is experimental. If you don't do the deep massage, then you'll never know. Does taking a daily multivitamin reduce the incidence of strokes? Experimental or observational? Everybody and their brother thinks this one is experimental. It is not. It is observational. Why? Because when I ask you what the treatment is, you're going to tell me it is taking a daily multivitamin. And I'm going to ask you, how do you know if it works or not? And you're going to say, we're just going to wait till they die? Wait till they die of strokes? Wait and see if they pass out? What? How are we going to know? Who's going to tell us? How do we decide if it's going to reduce the incidence of strokes? We're going to wait and see who strokes out and who doesn't? You can't do that. You can't wait and see who dies. That's not nice. It is considered unethical. You cannot kill someone for a statistical study. It's wrong. Don't do it. It's wrong. So, we go back up to the top for a little bit and we look. There's something called a retrospective study that looks at past results of a common sample. And instead, we say, we're not going to give people a daily multivitamin to find out if they stroke out or not. That's not right. Instead, we're going to look at people who did stroke out and die and see if they were taking a daily multivitamin or not. You look at case histories of what people in the past have done and see if it affected them or not. That's how you do it. It is a retrospective study. It looks like it should be an experimental study, like I said, but it is not. It is retrospective because you can't kill people. It's not nice. You're supposed to be nice. Okay. I've yelled enough about that.